Good evening, everyone. Okay, and it looks like we are live. It looks like we're live, and we're here to review for AP European History for the semester exam. Okay, so let's go ahead and looks like we've already got some questions in from Fiveable subscribers. Okay, so excellent, excellent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching here on YouTube, okay, if you're watching here on YouTube, this is actually, sorry, this is the AP Euro semester exam review. And this is brought to you by Fiveable. So it is broadcasting on my YouTube channel, but it is a Fiveable event that all of the questions that I'm going to be answering this evening are questions from Fiveable subscribers. So make sure that if you're interested in learning more about Fiveable, go ahead and click the link that's in the description, fiveable.me/signup. And there is a code that you can use by midnight tonight. You can use the code Tom Ritchie. Just put in my name, no spaces, when you're signing up, and you can get 30% off of your annual subscription. Now, also, whether you want to subscribe to Fiveable or not, stay hydrated, kids. Let me set a good example here. Fiveable is going to be hosting some Cahoot games next week to prepare you for your exams. So if you want to sign up on those, go to fiveable.me/Cahoot. Okay, so make sure to sign up for that. Space is limited to a certain number of students per game. So you want to make sure that you get in on that. Okay, so make sure to check out Fiveable. And of course, this is streaming on my channel. You're more than welcome to watch. And let me just make sure that everything is working on there. And then I'll go ahead and start answering the questions from Fiveable members. Let's just make sure that this is streaming. Okay, excellent. So we've got the semester exam review streaming right now. Okay, so thank y'all so much for tuning in, and thank you, Emily, for all of these questions. Okay, so Fiveable members, remember that if you're here in the Fiveable chat, you can ask questions. You can also upvote questions. So you let me know out of all of these questions that Emily has put up. Emily, you are the best. I tell you what, my heart is so warm right now seeing all these questions. And with that, let me go ahead and start answering. But remember, if you are a Fiveable subscriber, if you like these questions, if you have the same question, go ahead and upvote it so that I can see that that question is more important and more people want me to answer that. Cahoot is going to be next week. So make sure if you want to do that, make sure to sign up. And again, the questions that I'm going to be answering tonight are going to be from Fiveable subscribers. Now, if you're just somebody that watches my channel, just stay tuned. Make sure you've got me on notifications because I am planning on going live again as a broadcast on my channel that will be completely public, and I'll be taking questions from anybody who's there. Okay, so as far as that goes, let's go ahead and get this started. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as far as that goes, in my opinion, who are the most influential thinkers of the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment? Okay, that's a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the scientific revolution. And one thing that we want to know, let me go ahead and clear something up about the scientific revolution. There's the approach if you want to get a 3, there's the approach if you want to get a 5. There's, of course, that iconic showdown between Galileo and the church, okay? And a lot of times people just think, okay, well, these scientists, they're challenging the church, okay? But it goes a lot deeper than that. That really, if you want to have a complex understanding of this phenomenon that was the scientific revolution, that it's not just about the church. The church is guarding ancient knowledge. Okay, so what Galileo and Copernicus and others were really challenging was not so much the church as much as ancient authorities. And so your ancient authorities, as we start off, there are 3 of them that could come up. that could be useful for you. Now, most people get Aristotle and Ptolemy, or it's a written test, Ptolemy. So as far as that goes, most people are going to get those. A lot of people forget Galen, Galen. Now, Galen was a Roman physician who was really the most influential medical thinker all the way up to the scientific revolution. So it's really a willingness to challenge ancient authorities. So when Galileo climbed atop the Leaning Tower of Pisa and dropped a cannonball and a musket ball at the same time and showed that they fall at the same speed and that their acceleration picks up due to gravity, he was challenging Aristotle. Okay, Aristotle's viewpoint that, well, which seemed pretty logical, right? If I drop a cannonball and a sponge, the cannonball is going to land first and it's going to fall faster. But Galileo, through empirical methods, was to show that, what Aristotle said about physics, it's not quite up there, okay? That there are some other things about this. So with that, they're challenging those ancient authorities. Now, for remembering Galen, if you're a Star Wars fan, Galen Erso, the scientist who was working on the Death Star, that is the Paul Stewie. I see a Paul Stewie reference. I love that guy. All right. So as far as that goes, gosh, when I saw Paul Stewie, my whole brain just like, psh. All right. But as far as that goes, Galen Erso, the one who designed the Death Star. So remember, the reason they call him Galen, it's kind of like on Harry Potter. Most of those names have some kind of significance. So with that, just as far as that goes, just keep that in mind. And so I would say you start off with Copernicus and Galileo. Okay, so we're going to start off with Copernicus and Galileo. And of course, Copernicus was a priest and he did all the mathematical calculations. Galileo, with his telescope, proved this stuff empirically. Now, one thing we want to know about Copernicus and Galileo is that they're not really trying to challenge the church. Okay, they're Catholics, they're devout Catholics. Copernicus